What's up, this is Jake and Kristen with Hike 734, and today we're hiking the Upper Beaver Meadows Loop in Rocky Mountain National Park. So we started out over at the Beaver Meadows trailhead, and then we did it clockwise, working our way all the way up and around, and coming basically over by where we started. And yeah, it just starts out crossing over Beaver Brook, and just goes out into these really wide open grasslands. And I did this in 2019 in earlier spring, and so there's tons of flowers and tons of birds, which you'll go ahead and see. And that's and I'll kind of have that interspersed throughout, just so you can go ahead and see what it looks like also in the fall, which is what we're doing right now. And we're back hiking it because in 2020 a fire came through, so as you can see, we started entering into some burned forest as we got closer to the ridge. And so yeah, we started working our way into that, and then there's like 2 rights you have to make, so it is a little bit tricky. But after making that second right, I just kind of paralleled that moraine, and which is a very, very burned ridge now. And that moraine goes over to Moraine Park on the other side. But yeah, the trail just works its way and starts to climb, and kind of separates itself from the moraine, and there's a little draw separating the two. But yeah, just really, yeah, just a bunch of burned trees. And once again, this is a good spot for lots of wildflowers in the spring, but not much to look at here in the fall. Eventually this ridge that we were on merges with that moraine, and there comes to be a really, really cool overlook. You're looking down into Moraine Park, and if you have a long lens or binoculars, you usually can see some elk down there. But it's a fantastic view. It just spreads in all directions. So yeah, really, really cool vantage from there. And you can even see Long's Peak in there. But yeah, from there, the trail comes to a junction, and we went ahead and took a right to go ahead and do the loop. And so yeah, we started working our way. It's more climbing at this point. You kind of think, how much more? And just a little bit more climbing. But just that goes through that burn forest some more, and after a little bit of doing that, it finally levels off. It kind of starts working its way through this really cool bowl, and you can definitely see after only 4 years, some of these aspens are starting to pop up. So I have a feeling some of these views will be obscured as the trees kind of reclaim the area. And but yeah, from there it wraps around to this really cool overlook. There's a little scramble section, but man, if you can get up on top of that, there is just sprawling views. You can see from Deer Mountain all the way up to Long's Peak, and just yeah, way up into the Bear Lake corridor there. But yeah, super cool vantage, great spot to have a snack. And yeah, from there we hop back onto the trail, and it just kind of continues working its way just through more meadows, and finally it starts to go through just a little bit more of that burned, and then we finally leave the burn for just this lodgepole forest that kind of just has a cool feel. And I'm pretty sure this was probably a burned area a long time ago, but yeah, it eventually just works its way down all the way back into this cool area of aspen where Beaver Brook is, and you get to see it from a little bit higher up than the trailhead there. We worked our way up over this little dry ridge, and just kind of continued through that, and where it drops down to this wet area, which is this cool meadow. And I know that when I did this in 2019, there were just tons and tons of wildflowers, and once again, just lots of birds and such. But yeah, from there, there's a confusing little junction, but if you stay left, you actually do the loop itself. The right is just a little shortcut to the trailhead. But yeah, from there it just climbs up onto this rocky ridge with just tons and tons of ponderosas, just really tall, cool trees. And that's really the last grunt of this whole hike, where it goes ahead and it just traverses across this ridge with some sagebrush and ponderosas. And when I did this in 2019, I saw bedded down elk. And so yeah, just a really cool area, lots to see, all these different ecotypes. And but eventually the trees start to open up more and more, and there's a trail junction. If you take a left, you go all the way up to Deer Mountain, but in order to close the loop, you take a right, and that just gets out into this really, really open, expansive sagebrush grassland area, and eventually just dropping down over to the really close to the trailhead. It's actually just a little bit on the road, but yeah, just really cool area, just lots and lots of views looking out into the Beaver Meadows and so kind of some of the surrounding. It's definitely an awesome spring hike if you like flowers and birds and such, and you will get a chance to see some elk. And of course, in the fall, it's always really fun to see the elk and the bulls and rut and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, overall, lots to see and a little bit of change after the fires. Just a nice moderate loop. And anyway, this is Jake and Kristen with Hike 734, hiking the Upper Beaver Meadows Loop in Rocky Mountain National Park. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe on YouTube and head on over to hike734.com for more goodness.